Well, hello, welcome to our first ever podcast produced in our brand new Ayrshire College radio studio, and it's very exciting. I'm Callum Patterson, one of the media lecturers here, alongside
Richard Scott. Hello everybody, nice to be on the air.
Yes, I guess so. What do you think of the new studio?
It's amazing. It's like it looks really swish for a start. Maybe a new coat of paint for the walls, but everything else, the equipment looks great. I love this light. I know that's not great radio because you can't see it, but it's very, very nice, very swish.
Yeah, if you've followed us on Twitter, yeah, if you haven't, then at AC Radio Studio, then you can see that light. There's a picture of it, the usual on-air light. It's like, but I think it's allured everyone, particularly our students, that are like, wow.
It's just something about a cool on-air light that seems to work, and there's all this great equipment, and like a moth to a flame, Callum. Like a moth to a flame.
I've not heard that one before.
Have you not heard that phrase?
No.
Okay, we'll discuss it later.
It sounds a bit like painful to the moths.
I think it's the idea that the light attracts them off, and it gets burnt by it, and lights, fancy lights, neon lights in particular, attract me.
Right, okay. We will go in from there. So we're going to talk a little bit about the course, because it's the time of the year where we've got students that are continuing on, hopefully on their progression through the various levels. Plus we're looking for new people.
Always.
At all our levels, and particularly at this kind of stage, starting to get interviews in. So we're going to talk about the course, the different levels, what you may expect, and what do we expect from students, and just a bit of a chat really about stuff that's going on.
Sounds good.
So I guess the first thing to kind of talk about is perhaps the different levels we've got. So,
okay,
you're the veteran here.
Let's see if I can remember. So we've got 3 levels. We've got our level 5, our level 6 and our level 7. Our level 7 is HNC, and then that's HNC Media Analysis and Production is the name of the course. We've got a level 6, which is a film and broadcasting, and then we've got a level 5, which is an introduction to film and broadcasting. And this year, as you know, because we've been on the promotional campaign, we have our first ever in Scotland social media and content creation course, which is kind of like, well, the new media essentially.
Okay, so we'll come to that shortly. We'll maybe start at level 5 and we'll work our way up the ladder, so to speak. It's a level which actually I've done quite a lot of lecturing this year. You've kind of not done any this year.
I've been away from it for a little while. It's kind of where I cut my teeth many moons ago. But yeah, the Introduction to Film and Broadcasting is a great course for anyone who's maybe left school a little bit early or has been out of education and wants to come back in. And it's kind of like a taster of what we do in the media. It's excellent for, we can talk all day long about the equipment we use, and which is quite fancy and quite cool, but ultimately the bedrock of all media, as I'm sure you know, is teamwork. So that's a great place to do your teamwork stuff and work on your theory skills and really get back into education. It's also a great gateway to our NQ level 6 and eventually our HNC, because one of the most rewarding things as a lecturer here at the college is when we meet someone at level 5 and maybe they've not had the confidence or whatever it may be, or the written skill or whatever it might be, as I say, and we go right through to HNC and then on into uni. So that happens quite a lot, and it's really, really rewarding when it does. It's a great little course. Yeah,
that's my 3rd year here, and this is the first time I've kind of seen level 5s that I taught in our first year, and now in HNC a good chunk of them, and it's amazing how much confidence that they've grown in that 3 years.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, and ultimately, as you know, we like team mentality here at Ayrshire College, and particularly in the media department. And one of the things I love is that those people on level 5 who, as mentioned, might not have been the most confident, become leaders in level 6 and 7, and because they get into the system and how we work and stuff like that. They're aware of what we're looking for, and that kind of filters through to the new starts as well. So really, really important level. It's a great entry course, lots of fun as well. And yeah, no, I just totally love it. But then I love everything about what we do.
Yeah, no, if you say we do a bit of everything, I think first semester you kind of learn a lot about the industry. We kind of do kind of little pitches and kind of concepts, ideas for various things. I know in the past I've done things like magazine programmes, the telly. I know one of our lecturers, Michelle's done a lot of stuff with TikTok, which is, I guess, new media kind of stuff.
I signed up for a TikTok account the other day.
I've seen that.
I don't know what I make of it yet, but it does seem like it's the future.
Yeah, it's kind of like Vine, but kind of zooped up with neon lights talking about neon lights.
I don't understand why Vine went away, because I really liked Vine at the time.
Yeah, no, I knew a few people that used it really well, but we'll see what happens with TikTok. It certainly is growing.
What was I going to say about the level 5? I think the thing that I love about the level 5, and this is kind of it talks more about media education in general and how much it's evolved. Like, that unit that you mentioned, it's not one of the ones that we necessarily associate as being one of the most exciting ones. It's not one where you break out the video cameras, but where you look at introduction to creative industries, where you drill down on particular industries and what they do and what the skills requirements are and what you need to be able to do that job. That's something I could have really benefited from before I went out and worked in television. Like, so when I went down to London, I'd done a course here at the college, and then I went on to UWS, and I'd focused a lot on theory and like analysing film and stuff. But when I rocked up in London, I hadn't a clue really, of how the industry worked and where I would be best suited within it. So to have people learning those skills on level 5s, it's just it's mashed potatoes and gravy. Hopefully everybody should enjoy it.
No, you learn kind of different roles, and then I think creative process where you can come up with a pitch for an idea, gets your brainstorms, and then when you come into the second semester, there is a bit more practical. You kind of start to learn about the video cameras. You're using the kind of radio studio certainly more next year with it being new. We're going to do some stuff next year, and kind of there's photography as well. So there's loads of things that you take on from the first semester and you build on for the second semester.
Absolutely. I mean, everything should be about not so much about something new every year, although we do try and introduce new elements. It's about building that experience, and hopefully the quality control goes up as you go along. So there's something that I'm sure you're aware of it, but we make 1-minute film on every single level of our courses, which is basically the project is to produce a 1-minute film. It's not so much it's a different brief. It's the idea is we'll make it better than you made it the year before. And that's what we're looking for. It's a gradual improvement.
Yeah, and I think when we come to talk about our NQ, that is the big thing about that year, is about improving on the year before, certainly for those that start level 5. So that's our main intro course, which has been around for a while, and it's been great. We're going to try and add to that, and we're looking for applicants to join us for our new course, social media and content creation. You've been kind of a bit of a brainchild with one or two people for the last nearly a couple of years now, so you can be the best explaining what the idea is. Social
media and content creation is essentially digital marketing. That's what we're talking about here, and it's something that I noticed because Lacey, my fiance, she works in that field, so she does it for excess stock, and what I became aware of is, and again going back to my experience coming out of uni and stuff, it was really London or bust for me. I had to move down to London to get a job in the media, and what I suddenly noticed is Lacey could come out of university, out of UWS, and then go straight into a job locally, and that to me was like a bit of a light bulb moment. It was like, well, why is that emerged? What does it involve? And I started drilling down into it, and sure enough, there's like loads of these jobs going around. There's 19 the last time I checked, earlier this week, jobs in Ayrshire in social media and content creation. Now to me, that's totally cool, and if we can access that market, that's what we've got to do. And the basic idea was we've got a graphics department, we've got a media department, and we've got a photography department, and all three have unique skill bases, but to be perfectly suited for this job, you kind of need to have all three skill bases, and that's kind of the idea behind it. And we've also brought in the excellent Michelle, who works in our marketing department, and she's going to be teaching the marketing skills involved in it as well. So I'm very, very, very excited about it. We just need to get some applicants in, and we've got our first couple through the door, which is fantastic. But this is the future, is what I believe. Famous last words there.
Yeah, but particularly, I mean, from the media side of that, like the social media, particularly social kind of marketing and things like that, it's something that I do a bit of that in sport and in football, and it's something that I didn't learn too much. I learned a bit about it in terms of podcasting when I done radio and stuff, and setting up your podcast accounts and wherever that is, and maybe promoting it on social, doing Facebook pages, and that was kind of the early to it. But now it is all about the graphics, the video, the subtitles and videos, the kind of different sorts of bits of content, and it's all. And probably my mind's changed where you can make something really good for social and it looks good and great and get views, but actually if you're working for a business or an organisation, you're trying to sell something as well. Always try to sell something, trying to sell what you're about, a product. So it's like things like that. I've had to learn kind of on the job, kind of doing that for the last 4 or 5 years, whereas now you can kind of start that journey 16, 17, 18-year-old and learn in this environment, and then you've got that as soon as you leave the education door. I
think what's fascinating is a lot of kids coming out of school and uni are probably better equipped even than we are in some ways in terms of to do it naturally, but it's maybe about giving them the ability to like polish it up a little bit and give them that idea of professionalism and making sure the boxes are ticked and stuff like that, and showing them a couple of little tricks that we've hopefully learned over the years as well. With the social media and content creation course, it's a real opportunity to maybe change things and push things forward a little bit, which I always love. And yeah, hopefully we can grab it.
Yeah, and it is really exciting, the fact that we are, photography, design, 3-4 different areas, the marketing side too. It's like, it sounds like it could be chaos, but actually bringing all that together, it actually makes so much sense. There's
a natural relationship there, and as we've just been saying, you have to be able to do all three now. You need to know a little bit of graphic design, you need to know how to work a video camera, and you also need to be able to take some swish photographs as well, especially if you want to get, the things that I think is the most interesting about it is a lot of these jobs right now, the ones in Ayr, they're like 20 grand jobs, 19 grand jobs. These are starter positions a lot of the time. Now, if you start there, imagine where you can go. So potentially you could do this course and have the skills to start applying for those jobs. And to me, that's super exciting. It's not like, you do the course and now you're going to uni for 4 years and now you're going maybe doing the masters and then hopefully you're going to start in the bottom rung and start there. This is level 5 and now you might be potentially skilled enough to apply for straight away into a job. That's exciting to me.
Yeah, no, it sounds really good. So that's kind of the 2 courses at level 5 are offer. If you're maybe interested in applying, where would be the best place to go and look?
The Ayrshire College website, so www.ayrshire.ac.uk. You can also check out the at ACTV space Twitter. There's usually a lot of information about it on there, but the college website is the best place to go. Just type in social media and content creation.
Okay, and we'll give you that info again in a bit. So let's move from level 5 to level 6. Now this is where it starts being quite interesting, because we have students that start at level 5 that move up. We should also give a sideways kind of nod to level 5 photography and Kilwinning, because there is some video units and audio units that I've been teaching there the last couple of years that we've had 1 or 2 people most years that kind of come across and now in their HNC here that maybe have liked the media side, the video side, so they've decided to move. So there is that avenue if you're maybe across in Kilwinning and you maybe do a year and that side and want to come across. So you've got people that have moved up to NQ, and then we do get our influx of people that maybe again leave school or what have you, that have got the qualifications that join us straight in at NQ. So 2 different facets, and I guess as a lecturer, as experienced as you are now over the last few years,
a decade this year.
It's a veteran, but still very young looking. But yes, how easy is it to just seamlessly blend into an NQ with students that have been here for a year and those that are brand new in?
To be honest, I'm finding myself on the NQ less and less, which is something. It's both. I love doing the HNC because I get to talk about the stuff I love all the time. But NQ is something I really miss, because there's a great atmosphere on the NQ and lots of energy. And maybe you don't have the responsibilities quite yet of the HNC, but you're a little bit more mature than a level 5 at that moment. So it's always got a great atmosphere, NQ. And I think that all comes from, again, we're a little bit stricter on standards in terms of our NQ. We might cover some of the same areas like media production, but again, we're expecting a little bit more from you. The guys also take on the responsibility at NQ level of organising the ACTV Film Festival, 1st of May this year, I believe. So there's responsibility, but there's also still that freedom. And our level 5s and our level 6s, our previous level 5s and the new starts always tend to, touch wood, blend pretty well together.
Yeah, I know most of our courses we kind of like to talk about it being a 50-50 split between kind of theory and practical. I sometimes feel like NQ might be a slight just sway to practical, because they do a lot of group projects at NQ. I
think with the NQ, what you find, if I remember correctly, is a lot of the units have got a theory element to them and a practical element, which means that you're getting like a legitimate 50-50 split within each unit. But we put a lot of emphasis on practical in the media department these days, mainly because that's where we think the jobs are going to come from. If you know how to work a camera, if you know how to work radio station like yourself right now, we can put you in a job, and I think that's ultimately what we're here to do. Yeah, so
NQ, I know I've talked quite a bit about that, certainly in the last couple of years. They do a lot of video production, media production. I know they're doing various things for myself, soaps, and they've done sitcoms, and the other, we've got 2 NQ classes, so one for analysing creating media content, which they look at different TV shows and analyse that, and then creating media, they're making their own soap this year, and their level 5s that moved up to level 6 made a great soap last year, and they're still talking about it.
They're still,
and they kept talking about doing a second one, but they've kind of decided no, so we've split that up.
Still got another year to go. HMC could see the return of Riverside.
Could do. So they're doing their own soap. So loads of little projects. The sound. module, we've got radio production. They are making magazine programmes, I know that, plus other little things along the way. As we were saying, the fives that move up to level 6, there is some stuff that they're going over perhaps for a second time, but it's more depth, more detail, and then when it gets to the practical stuff, they are looking for a step up. Those that are coming in at NQ, there's no disadvantage if you're coming at NQ, because you're learning the same kind of speed.
Again, repetition is key. John Ray, who does a lot of the practical stuff, I'm sure that's the first thing he'd tell you. It's not so much about learning something new to do, it's about doing it again and again and again. Repetition is what's going to make you a better operator within the industry. So we start at level 6. We don't assume anyone's done the level 5. It's all about how do the lights work, how do you get this kind of effect, how do you use the editing software, how do you use the video cameras, what's the best solution to each individual problem. Repetition. That's how we kind of get things done. The theory stuff ramps up a little bit, so the people on the level 5 might have a heads up slightly in that they've covered some of the concepts before, but again, there's no assumption that you understand terms like mise-en-scène, for example, from film theory, or representation. We're going to cover all that stuff again.
Yeah, so very good. And we've kind of mentioned some of the projects that they've been doing practically. Is there anything that stood out in terms of NQ work this year?
This year, I've not seen so much of it this year, because again, I'm just not so much on the course. But I know John, and I have seen this film, and it is good. Dares. I don't know if you've seen Dares yet.
I haven't, no.
It's black and white. It's got a sort of Twilight Zone vibe to it, about what if element. I think it was Charlie's group that worked on it, and it's something to behold. You should probably check that out. It's on ACTV, the YouTube channel. Yeah. You want to check it out. Dares, I think it's called.
I'll need to check that out. I think, talking about the sitcoms first semester for Media Project, I quite enjoyed. They were all pretty good. I enjoyed, it was Kaylee's group, another NQ class that did a sitcom based on Psychic Aggie. And
I saw the filming of that, actually.
It's quite funny, and they even got round a bit where there was a slight continuity snarl where they had to re-record something and they were in different clothing, and they actually worked that into the script like in a psychic kind of way. It was quite funny, but all the sitcoms, again, they're on ACTV, so
there was one
some good stuff.
There was one crazy day where we were filming, because they were using 418 at the same time as I was working with the schools, and we had 3 crews filming 3 different projects in the room at the same time, which was absolutely bonkers, but it seems to have worked out for everyone. So
yeah, no, it was good. So I'll wait and see what their soap operas are like. So full drama and the works, hopefully. So that's kind of NQ. I think we've kind of covered most of the stuff there. So if you're kind of at a level where you think you've got a decent understanding, you can apply for the NQ course. And as I say, if you're applying at level 5, that is a natural pathway, whether it's the social media course, the level 5 intro course, or if you maybe are at Cullen and doing level 5 photography and fancy a change, and if you're liking the media units on there. So from NQ, again, we've got a pathway through to HNC, and we discussed earlier that there's a few that, from the 3 years I'm here, that I've seen that journey through to HNC. Also, a lot of new people coming in again from perhaps 6th year at school, or maybe people that have been through their high school, maybe been away for a year or two and came back in, but have got the qualifications. HNC kind of really digs down deep, doesn't it?
Yeah, HNC is where I don't mean the fun stops, because hopefully the people still have fun, but there's certainly a bit more backbone to the HNC in terms of this needs to get done, because ultimately we're trying to get people into university and into jobs. So some of the fun is slightly sidelined for some hard work, but hopefully enjoyable hard work.
Yeah, and what kind of hard work are they expecting to do this year?
John, since he came in, sort of really revolutionised how we do video production. So there's been lots of stuff in video production that's changed. You'll go through the production cycle twice in the first semester, which is pretty good. He'll take you through a camera exposure, using frame rates, stuff like that, how to light a shot, how to film a shot, etc., or film a scene, sorry. Myself, I handle a lot of the theory, so that's the introduction to film theory and what other things did I do? Entrepreneurial skills and things like that. And it's really, again, about first year uni, really, we're looking at. So key concepts in film theory and also how to start a business. And the thing that I've started recently, which I really enjoy, and I think some of the students really enjoy, is the YouTube unit, which is the idea that, again, media is transforming, in the same way it did in the sort of 40s and 50s with the emergence of television and things. We're entering a new age, which is digital, so we're focused on YouTube, and the guys come up with their own YouTube channel and make 2 videos and look at how they could potentially make it into a business and self-sustaining.
And that actually links in if you come and start at level 5, the social media and content creation, and the way social media is, and then you can funnel that into HNC fees. You come all the way through the course.
That's exactly it, Callum. Since we started looking at YouTube more seriously and listening to students rather than saying, oh no, film's the way it should be, it's serious, YouTube's not, we started responding to what the students were saying, and said, right, let's take a look at YouTube, because there's a lot of things I really didn't like about YouTube at first when I started looking at it, like jump cuts, because I'm an editor by night.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't like that, but you have to accept that things change and things move on. More people watch YouTube with their tea now than watch any channel. That tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
You've got people like Jamie Genevieve, the beauty vlogger, who have made a successful career out of it. From Scotland, from Glasgow. That's incredible. We have to support that.
Yeah,
look at it.
And I kind of think I'm not into that nonsense of watching YouTube and not. But with smart TVs and whatnot now, it's like I'm still kind of sucked into the whole. You just YouTube on, there's clips here, there, and recommendations. Amazing how much time you lose on YouTube, and a lot of it's through like vloggers and content like that. They're making money from that.
I think they're very good at what they do, and like if you've ever tried to do anything like that, you realise how much work's involved in it. Some people are really naturals in front of camera, other people aren't. The actual production value, because when YouTube started, there was no expectancy of quality. You could film something just really quickly and put it up, and that's fine. But these days, it has to look good to capture someone's attention, and that's again another reason I know John really focuses on the aesthetic of the shots and stuff like that, and what they're working on in media production, because your work has to look good these days. There's no excuse. It's not like when I studied it, where we barely had 2 cameras to rub together or anything like that. Your mobile phone is more than capable of making quality looking videos, so you really need to have something that looks good.
Yeah, and mobile filming's that's something again I think I've had to adjust, or certainly from a radio sense, where I like my Zoom recorders and things like that, but you get a lot of people, particularly journalists and stuff now, that are using mobiles with like the branded kind of mic.
Is that with like the
shields.
Hindenburg app and stuff like that? Yeah,
it's like I'm kind of like, to start with, I'm kind of like I kind of like my Zoom, but it's not quite as good as Zoom, but it's still pretty good, so you have to go with it because it's immediate and it's what the world is now.
That's it. I mean, you see it all the time on CNN and that, people film things on their mobile phone now. There's like apps like Filmic Pro that the handycams we use at level 6, like they're not as good as a mobile phone for filming, and that's the reality of the situation. There's no point crying about it or going, but we should be using a specific technology. If you can film something that looks good on a mobile phone, film on a mobile phone. Yeah,
and actually jumping back up the years, but I know level 5 in Kilwinning, the photography unit, the video units we're teaching there, a lot of the guys there have used their phone, there's some lapel mics and stuff, and they made some documentaries, and there's one that was really good that went around the kind of front of house and student services, and it was all shot by phone, and it was really good. So, and it was kind of a step up from the handycams that were out a few years ago.
It's like the handycams are quite expensive as well, that's the thing. You're talking a couple of £100 for a handycam. For somebody who's on holiday, if you're away to Florida or something, Disneyland, a handycam's absolutely fine. But we need to be able to control our cameras. We need to be able to check the exposure. We need to be able to change the frame rate, and you can't do that on a handycam. So you can do it on a mobile phone.
Yes,
and that tells you everything.
Straight off topic, I've got this new gimbal for mobile and for the football stuff that I do, and it's like I'm still getting the hang of it. But it was like refurbished. It wasn't even that expensive. It was like 40-50 quid, and it's really cool, really cool.
It just gives it a little sheen of polish and quality, doesn't it, when you can just do those sort of gliding shots.
Really nice. Absolutely. I guess one thing for the practical work agency, there is a bit more, we're talking group work and group ethos, and that's still there in agency, but there is a lot more self-sufficiency and solo projects at HNC. So the YouTube project is a solo project. In second semester they do adaptation with John, and that's a solo project as well. The idea is when you start, you'll be doing some group work, because we want you to know other people in the class, so you can say, right, I'll work camera on your project if you help me out with sound later on, and you want to form those relationships as early as possible, so that when the individual work comes down, you can still trust someone else to help you out. And again, that's how it kind of works. Yeah, and I should get my 30 seconds of bias in the radio unit. This year the 2 classes have been doing podcasts. This was kind of just before the radio studio was set up, so they're doing their own podcasts, their own ideas, some mixed mixed bag of ideas, from ghost hunting in Iceland with Patricia to a whole host of other things, film reviews. We had I think Ryan was talking about South Africa and
Okay, that's cool.
and trips, and so loads of different stuff. Harry Potter, loads of stuff. That might probably change next year. I think we're going to do some kind of live studio stuff because we've got the kind of studio set up. So that's going to be really exciting, but we'll need to find out exactly what we're going to do. But it's another little facet to the unit.
One of the things that I'm always wary of saying this, but I believe we make more content than anyone else, any other college.
Certainly visibly online.
Yeah, I mean, we put, if you check out ACTV Space, and what's the name of AC Radio?
AC Radio Studio.
Okay, AC Radio Studio. You'll see the amount of content that we produce, and we put everything up because we believe that that's ultimately part of the process. There should be a final destination for your work, and hopefully get feedback online from it. But we produce a lot of content. I worked out a couple of years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, and it was like 300 videos or something, which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly for me, whether it's any video units for whatever level or radio, a lot of my briefs, and probably the students might get sick of me saying this because I go, well, what's the demographic? I'm always saying target and ACTV, AC radio. So you're thinking younger people, Ayrshire kind of based. So I think for me anyway, the content that a lot of people make is targeting the demographic that's watching our content, because if you look at the analytics and the students do that, a bit of that, it is younger people based in this area that are watching our stuff.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier on with social media, having the AC Studio website and Podbean, having ACTV, YouTube and Twitter. This is helping people find our content and hopefully finding our course as well, and attracting potential students to us, which is fantastic. One of the things that I'm always really keen on, I'm sure you'll be the same, is enthusiasm. Like people who just want to do it, who see it, get a kick out of it and go, I want to do that. I mean, that's such a massive part of the creative industries in general, because sometimes it can be quite a tough slog working in our industry, and you need to have that passion and that enthusiasm. Like, you don't do this because you want an easy life.
Yeah, and I think all levels, there's a little element about kind of employment, freelance employment, and doing your tax returns and working whatever hours of the day and not taking on too much, which I'm guilty of doing even now, alongside this job. So that kind of moves us on to, it could apply to other levels as well, but particularly if you're at HNC, you might be at that kind of crossroads in your kind of future, where you think about uni and what you want to do. If you want to go to uni, perhaps set up your own little company and do freelance work if you're maybe starting to do things, or just what's next. So if you're going to the uni path, where's the kind of best things, or what's the best thing to be looking at?
It's kind of depends. It's horses for courses, I guess. It's what you want to do. I should have said that actually earlier on, that a lot of the academic work ramps up as well in terms of quality, and Harvard referencing that, because we're trying to prepare people for first year uni. We have an matriculation deal with Queen Margaret, so our students can, if they get a B in their graded unit, they can get direct entry into their second year on 3 of their courses. A filmmaking one and a marketing one and a broadcast one, I believe, off the top of my head. We have good relationships with UWS. I love their broadcasting course, where they teach them real skills, I think, in terms of employability skills, I would say, how to go into industry. They do radio and television broadcast. There's script writing skills in there as well. To me, that course, if it had existed when I was young, that's where I'd want to be, because I'd feel like that was applicable. But there's also filmmaking at UWS as well, which is really, really good. That's what I did when I was younger. And you learn about cinema, and if you're more academic and you want to do maybe a bit of script writing, a bit of filming as well, and also learn about media theory, film theory, then that's probably the best option. But we've had students go to the conservatoire as well. Rona, one of our ex-students, she got in there this year, which she's very excited about. She'd worked really hard for it. That's the best in Scotland as well. So there's a range of options. Glasgow Uni, we've got some students there. They seem to be enjoying it. Again, that's more theory based as a course. But yeah, it depends kind of what you want to do, because to me it's practical, but to somebody else the theory could be where they want to go. You know?
I think it varies per uni. And let's say UWS, I went to UWS, graduated 2016, and it is one of those that's quite, you do a bit of everything again second year, but there's more detail, and then third year you still do a bit of everything in terms of research and theory, but you can specialise the practicals. I did a lot of the radio stuff, and it was really good, and there's sometimes chances for some either work experience or some freelance gigs in there if you're kind of doing quite well. They've got sometimes stuff Paul Tucker kind of runs. That's pretty good.
Paul Tucker, Shona Wallace, we've had sort of brief dealings with them. We occasionally see them, we talk to them about the studio space and stuff like that, and they seem really switched on and really seem to know what they're doing. So you'll know yourself, you get a feel from production people, and I always respond really well to that. So again, I really trust UWS. I think they're a great institution. Yeah,
and wherever you go, you'll get a great education, depending on what you kind of want to do. And I know the filmmaking. I remember when I was at UWS, there was 1 or 2 classes with the filmmaking and the broadcast production were the same thing. I remember it was David Manderson, and I remember they had this guest, Sergio Casque.
No, I'm not familiar.
Scottish guy. He done American Cousins, and
that rings a bell.
It's like a mafia, the American mafia that were based in Glasgow. It had the girl that played Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter.
Something's ringing a bell, but I can't quite picture it in my head.
He done something else as well, but he was really smooth talking, really good. It was quite interesting. So there is sometimes 1 or 2 units that are combined in film and the broadcast. So it's quite interesting. There's a bit of a crossover.
I think that's natural, if you know what I mean. A lot of the skills are applicable in both fields, whether it's filmmaking or broadcast. When I was younger, I'd always imagined working in film, but I ended up working in television. But I wasn't unhappy. I was still doing sort of what I loved. And as, again, sorry to sound like a broken record, but as we talk about new media, it's just going to all merge together. That's my inclination anyway.
Absolutely. We talked quite a lot about uni there, but there's people that might finish HNC and might finish earlier in the chain, but certainly if they come all the way to HNC, they might finish and they want maybe go freelance, start earning money, and not maybe fancy university, or they might want to take a break for a year or 2. You never know. What would be the best bit of advice for those that come to the end of their HNC about taking things forward?
It's difficult because you're potentially presented with so many problems, but I guess the main thing is to give it a go. Like, not to fall at the first hurdle. Go out there, meet people, and try and put something together. John, who does the video production again on HNC, he's had the experience of running an independent business, and to me, I would be asking him, like, in terms of how do you do this, how do you do that, and John, I'm sure, would be the first to say that don't expect everything to go right. That's the first thing, because we've had a couple of guys start businesses and been quite successful at it, but they were in here every other week because some new stressful event would happen, and they'd come back to us and go, well, how do we deal with this? And I guess that was really nice in a way to be consulted in what they were doing, and try and help them out. But the best piece of advice is just to go and do it. Don't be somebody who sits there talking about it and not doing it. You want to run a media business? Well, then start a media business.
Yeah, and I like how there's a few that can start doing little things this year, like the Acid Trip guys and whatnot, and there's Joe and Lewis and the in the NQ that are doing their little podcasts at the moment. So they're just doing little things. It might be a bit of a dabbling exercise, but if they can start doing things, get it out there, and if it maybe takes off, then you never know.
That takes us all the way back to what we talked about right at the start, group work and working in teams, because they're already starting to identify who they could potentially work with in a real world scenario. Who do they trust? Who do they feel comfortable with? Who can they take feedback from? That is worth its weight in gold. So whatever they decide to go, if they know they've already started to establish a little team, you're halfway there. Yeah,
absolutely. It's just like us as a team making a podcast.
That's it. When you work together, things go better. I remember a student from, this is a long time ago, I think this phrase is quite common, but I hadn't heard it before. It was Katie Hanlon, a good couple of years ago now, and she told me teamwork makes the dream work, and I actually remember I still use it because I think that's absolutely true. The better you work as a team, the more successful you're going to be.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've just about covered everything. Anything else that we should know about the department, or anything exciting?
Just that I think we're probably the best in Scotland. I mean, we're doing very well at the moment. We've been very, very successful. We've had a lot of help from Elaine Hutton, who's got us lots of nice equipment, from Julie Thorne.
Thanks, Elaine. Thanks, Julie.
There'll be a list on the way, Elaine. Julie Thorne, who gives us a lot of creative freedom, and Johnny, who's a fountain of knowledge on the media department in general, so always keeps us on track. And who else? John Waste and Linda look after the kits. What I guess I'm trying to get at is we have got a great team here in this department. It's not just media, it's the whole creative department. I remember the first time I came into this building, walked on the 4th floor, and it just had an energy. We work really closely with Peter McClurg as well in the visual communications department. It's a great atmosphere in this building, and particularly on this floor. So if you're thinking about a career in media, don't come in and see us rather than going to the website. That's what I'd say. I'm upstairs in L418 pretty much most of my days.
Email as well.
Yeah, you could email us, anything at all. And I look for enthusiasm. I'm sure you're much the same. Of course, we want you to have the qualifications in that, but the main thing I want you to have is drive and passion. You want to make films, we want to help you make films. You want to make podcasts, we want to help you make podcasts. Come in and meet us, and I'm sure we'll get on like a house on fire.
Absolutely. And probably just finally, as a final reminder, if you can obviously email us and richard.scott@ayrshire.ac.uk, john.ray or callum.patterson, and you can finish the email yourself because it takes too long to say. Or you can phone, ask for us, check out the website. But if you are going to apply, the website's the place to go.
Yeah, www.ayrshire.ac.uk. It's just whatever. So the names of the courses again are HNC Media Analysis and Production, NQ Film and Broadcasting, and Introduction to Film and Broadcasting. Started panicking there when I was like, oh my god, what are the courses? Yeah, no, we're growing all the time. And social media and content creation being the other one. But yeah, no, don't be a stranger is the main thing though. I feel like when people come in and they meet us and they see how enthusiastic we all still are to be making stuff, which is really, really important, people tend to get on board. Absolutely. So at ACTV Space as well, Twitter, Instagram, you'll find it at AC Radio Studio, or on Podbean, just search for Ayrshire College Radio. And alongside this, we're going to have a little chat with Michelle and Vincent in the coming days and weeks to talk about more about the Level 5 and the new social media course as well. So if you're brand new, thinking about college from school perhaps, then we've got something specifically on Level 5. So that's to come. Thanks very much, Richard. Thank you very much for having me, Callum. It's been a pleasure. I felt quite nervous before this, but now I'm in here, I feel relatively comfortable. Yeah. Well, thanks very much for listening, everyone, and do follow us if you haven't already, and we will see you soon on Ayrshire College Radio.